This woman she was a widow, which means she had lost her husband, right? And like most widows, and especially in that day, losing her husband meant she was most likely poor. She didn't have somebody to provide for her financially. Not only that, so she's not only lost her husband, now she's extremely poor. Now she's lost her only son, this young son who dies. Probably can't get lower than that, I don't think, in life. I mean, I cannot imagine the pain a parent would feel losing a young child. I've got 3 beautiful little girls. I can't imagine losing one of them. I've done funerals for parents who have lost children, little babies born, and it's one of the most painful, gut-wrenching things I've ever done as a pastor. Every job has things that you don't like that you got to do. So does mine. I'll just read this. There's an account from a father who lost his son and what he wrote about, just to give us a glimpse into the experience and the feelings that's going on here. It says, we used prompt measures and sent early for the doctor, who did not think this case was dangerous, but he grew gradually worse until Sunday, when his symptoms became alarming and he passed away after great sufferings. Half hour before he died, he sank into a sleep which became more and more quiet until he gently sighed his soul away. This is the first death we have had in our family, and my first experience of any great sorrow. I've learned rapidly in the school of anguish this week, and I am many years older than I was a few days ago. It was not so much that I could not give my darling up, but that I saw him suffer such pangs and then fall under the grasp of the great destroyer while I was impotent for his help. It shakes the heart with a shuddering terror and a horror of great darkness. To see my dear little one ravaged, crushed, and destroyed, turning his beautiful liquid eyes to me and his weeping mother for help after his gentle voice could no longer be heard, and to feel myself as helpless to give any aid, it just tears my heart with anguish. Doesn't that just like twist you in your gut? Hearing that and reading that today? I mean, I'm not trying to be like emotionally manipulative right now. I'm trying to draw us into the reality of this story that we're reading. What's going on? What this woman felt. What this woman felt. I mean, and who Jesus is and what he does about it. I mean, the death of this poor woman's son, it socks Jesus in the gut hard. That's really what the text says. I want to show it to you. Verse 13 says, when the Lord saw her, he had compassion on her. Is that word compassion? The Greek word that's behind that gets translated into English is this word splankna. And we just don't have any English word that really kind of equals what splankna means. We don't have one word that communicates all of that means. The word kind of is like it sounds, splankna. It's this, that you're moved in your bowels, deep in your gut. You feel physical pain. That's this word, splankna. What the Bible is really saying here is that when he saw this woman's pain, that it so moved Jesus that he hurt in the bowels of his very body. And he was provoked. He could not handle what he saw. When he saw the face of death, and that was the very reason that he came into the world, was to destroy death once and for all. It was an affront to him and his person as the Lord of life and creation, that he could not handle it. He was provoked deep in his soul, and so he acted. Could not help himself. So first, look what he does. First, he speaks these tender, loving words to the woman. He says, oh, don't weep. Don't weep. It's going to be all right. And then I imagine with a voice akin to the one that he used when he spoke the world into existence. He spoke, and he commanded life to spring forth from this dead boy's body. He says, rise, get up. Not now. Not now. Death will not take you now. Life. Live. And the young man gets up. What a moment. What a moment. Then look what he does next. Last part. Then he takes the boy into his arms and he gives her to the mother. Oh, so sweet. What compassion. What compassion. What compassion of the Lord of creation that Jesus has for his people. What a kindness. What a Savior Jesus is. Jesus is the Lord of heaven and earth. All authority. And he stoops so low to meet the woman where she's at. He stoops to meet you and I where we're at and to give us compassion. And once again, look what he does. He restores relationship. He heals for the sake of relationship so that this boy could be restored to relationship with his mother and so that the woman's relationship with God really could be restored as well. The universal response after he does this is praise. Everybody. There's everybody there. They're glorifying and praising God. They're like, God's visited us. They recognize it. The text doesn't say this outright, so this is kind of my guess and speculation, but my guess is that she had come to believe or think that God had abandoned her and didn't care about her anymore. I mean, first he took her husband and now her son. Or maybe that she had just given up on believing in God altogether. She's probably most likely in one of those two places. That thinks that God doesn't care about her or that she doesn't even believe in God anymore. It's actually the number one reason that most people say that they reject God. Say they don't believe in God's suffering. And then very difficult, painful things happen. They figure, if God is all good and he's all powerful, how can he let bad things happen? Right? Heard that? Truth is, those who think that are right. You're right. And God, he could not let the bad happen. That's why he sent Jesus into the world to put an end to it by entering into the suffering himself, and the pain of the cross, and then rising again so that all the bad and death, that it might no longer reign and have the last word. You see, suffering, self-pity and self-protection, self-isolation, self-sorrow, it can sabotage your soul. What we need in our suffering is to turn to the Lord who suffered himself for us on our behalf in order to restore us to relationship with God. Jesus provides an answer for us, and he provides a hope so that our tears might be wiped away. It's compassion. Compassion. Today, do you find yourself in a place where you're just maybe going through some stuff and you're just hurting, you're wondering if God really cares? Oh, I want you to know he does. God cares for you. He knows what you're going through. And he loves you. Jesus cares. Oh, how he covers. His compassion is unsurpassing. He knows. He knows what it's like to suffer rejection and to feel completely alone. In the end, everyone abandons him. He dies alone on a cross. Jesus knows what it's like to suffer in his body, truly excruciating pain. He knows. He has great compassion. That's why he did it.